right, Shalom, Shalom. All right, Brakati Yahweh, Bahasham Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Rakakwadash. All right, double honors to the apostles, elders, and bishops here at Great Millstone. Shalom to your Akim, who are pushing the work in truth and in sincerity. All right, bringing forth the testimony of our Lord Yahweh Shai. That testimony is the spirit of prophecy. All right, so coming back at you with another lesson. Lord willing, this is edifying and straight to the point. I'm gonna try to make it, as short as I can with the little information I got. Just conveying what Esau is doing. Revealing the minds at play here. And their motives. Of course, we know. And if you've been paying attention, you should know. All right, what this devil is doing. Okay, because the scriptures are clear. We're supposed to be circumspect of the times. All right, because these days are evil, and this whole time we're supposed to be preparing ourselves. All right, and readying ourselves to this battle, this spiritual warfare. All right, and here I want to start here because this explains, This explains what I want to convey right here. First Maccabees 3:19. For the victory of battle standeth not in the multitude of an host. All right, but strength cometh from heaven. Okay, and our strength is coming from, the Lord, the Almighty power, Yahweh, right, the Father and His Son Yahweh Shai, which Yahweh has given all authority and power to His Son Yahweh Shai, and that's who we worship. Okay, Yahweh Shai. We give glory and honor to Yahweh Shai, and that's how we give glory to the Father through the Son. All right, and ain't no other way you can go about doing that. Okay, giving glory to the Father. But here we go. It says they come against us in much pride and iniquity to destroy us and our wives and children and to spoil us. All right. And to qualify the scriptures, this is dealing with the Maccabean, essentially the revolt, the Israelites revolting against the Greeks. Okay, and one in particular, Antiochus, all right, Epiphanes, all right, I believe the fourth, all right, and they came, as it says here, in much pride and iniquity to destroy us. And so, we're living in the last leg of the Roman Empire, because you might as well say, in the ancient world, it was the Greco-Roman Empire, all right, but mainly the Greeks at this time during the time of the Maccabees, because we went to the Romans for help. We allied with them and made a league with the Romans, but eventually the Romans consolidated the Greek Empire, and took all, its culture and revamped it, And when you deal with the Greek and Roman Empire, these are Edomites who are ruling this hegemony, okay? And now we live in a system that is a revitalized version of the Roman Empire. All right, and they're about to do the same thing that they have always done. Okay, so just to qualify that precept, all right, again, it says they come against us in much pride and iniquity to destroy us and our wives and children and to spoil us. All right, this is what Esau, all right, the so-called white man, this is what his motive is. His final solution is to rid us from the earth. All right, as in Psalms, the 83rd chapter, goes into, all right, and they're in league with all the other nations. All right, and that's blatant. It's very clear who our enemies are. First Maccabees 3:21, but we fight for our lives and our laws. All right, and it's the same thing we're doing now. Okay, and we keep our integrity. All right, and we're defending the law, all right, of the Heavenly Father, or laws of the Heavenly Father, all right, Yahweh, His way. We're defending His way, And truly we're the last line of defense here on earth, because it's many of them against us, and it's just a few of us. But what did the verse 19 goes into, saying, for the victory is a victory of battle standeth not in the multitude of an host, but strength cometh from heaven. So that's where our strength comes from. All right, while we defend, the Lord, okay, and his reputation. All right. Okay, wherefore the Lord himself will overthrow them before our face. And that's what's going to happen in our time, this time. All right, we're going to see the fall of our enemies. But you got to understand that he's coming, all right. He's coming full force, all right, as the scriptures say. He's coming with great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time. All right. And as for you, be ye not afraid of them. All right. So we're not supposed to be afraid of our enemies. We're supposed to know exactly who our enemies. The scriptures say here, Ephesians 5:15, see then that you walk circumspectly, meaning to see all around you. Circum meaning circle, spectly meaning to see. So you're supposed to know what's going on around you. That's dealing with politics. That's dealing with local. All right. International. We're supposed to know it all. All right. And the Spirit said we have an unction or calling to know all things. Not as fools, but as wise. Because what? A fool won't do this here. It says redeeming the time, because the days are evil. So to buy back the time, because you're hundreds of years behind. This devil has accelerated, the time, he's accelerated, his agenda. Okay. And that agenda will ultimately, like I said earlier, his final solution. Okay. Which is Revelations 12:12, him coming down with great wrath. All right. So I want to start here with this guy, Curtis Yarvin. All right. Just an example of the rhetoric or the talking points of the so-called white men, and what they want to do in the foreseeable future, and what they have already been doing. All right. And this guy here, Yarvin, is pretty much, he's predicted it. Which we know everything that Esau pretty much does and what he employs, it's always been an agenda. It's not just, coming from nowhere. The current state and the current, situation that the world is living in, Esau, pretty much planned it out. Okay. But more importantly, the Lord put the spirit on the so-called white man. And this is what all you Israelites are supposed to know, that the Lord is using him as a pawn in the grand scheme of things to bring, as the scriptures say in Revelation 6:4, to take peace from the earth. He is that red horse. Okay. Red because what? Red going back to Adawam, Edom, which means red. And the horse represents his power. And he has, power in this society to do what he will. Okay? So, Ephesians 5:17, wherefore be ye not unwise, but understanding what the will of the Lord is. All right? The will of the Lord is ultimately to bring the hour of temptation upon all mankind, where he's going to try everyone's ways. Okay? And that's going to be through the straits that the Lord is going to bring upon the earth, which ultimately is the punishments. Okay? The Lord is going to bring punishments and corrections. And of course, he's using Esau to do so. This is what we're supposed to know. Look, and the scriptures say, well, he was going to punish the world. All right. Let's see. Let's do this one first, before I get into the information, because the information ain't that much. It ain't that long. There's a few videos, and it's just gonna make clear the times that we're in, and what we've been telling you. We're on track for that to happen, and it's, if you can't see it, then you weren't meant to see it. Because I was gonna beg the question: is Jake even ready? No, is the world ready? And you got a lot of people that's talking about and revealing what Esau is ultimately the elite of these Edomites are doing, but they're not gonna be ready. The scriptures say it's gonna be as a thief in the night, and only the elect is going to have the wherewithal to stand in these times. 2 Ezra 15:5, behold, said the Lord, I will bring plagues upon the world, the sword, famine, death, and destruction. All right? For wickedness hath exceedingly polluted the whole earth, and their hurtful works are fulfilled. So the Lord is going to use the devil to bring certain things upon this earth. And that's apparent. All right, he's definitely being used, okay? And of course, only the elect are going to acknowledge it. Only the men of the Lord who understand the mystery, and that mystery was revealed to them. All right, we have an understanding of what's taking place in society and why. All right, understanding the will of the Lord. We understand his will because ultimately he's going to bring Esau into judgment. Okay, this is what this is all going into, all right? Everything that he's setting up in the earth is ultimately bringing him to his own judgment. But as he's being brought to his own judgment, because the Lord is setting us before his eyes, all right, and we're reproving them, all right, according to Psalms, the 50th chapter, I think the 21st verse, okay? As he's reproving them, as we were proving Esau, he's going to be set up to reprove the world, all right, in a way, okay, by bringing, as the scriptures say, Revelation 3:10, the hour of temptation upon the world, okay? Revelation 6:4, and there went out another horse that was red, all right, and that's associated with Adawam, Edom, all right, that's the mystery, and power was given to him that sat thereon to take peace from the earth. Who is taking peace from the earth? The so-called white men, all right? And that's apparent. That's very clear. And that they should kill one another, and there was given unto him a great sword. And that sword goes back to Genesis, the 27th chapter, all right, the 40th verse, I believe, where Isaac blessed Esau with the sword, all right? And if you know who Isaac is, all right? If you know, you know. So this was always set up from the beginning. And Esau right now is ruling with the sword. And when you go into the word for sword, all right, well, the Hebrew word is charab, I believe, which means to waste or wasting. And who's doing the wasting in the earth? Let's see what this, the Greek word is.
Strong's G 3162, machera, machera.
Machera, right? Large knife used for killing animals and cutting up flesh. A small sword as distinguishing from a large sword curve. Okay. All right. So hypothetically, or what? Ooh, here we go. Woo! I.e., Dirk figuratively wore judicial punishment, the sword. And the scriptures say, dealing with this, this man's society, that he spoke as a dragon, right? Just to touch on that, judicial punishment, okay? And when you go into that word, is spoke as a dragon, all right? It goes back to the Greek word drakon, all right, which is synonymous with Draco, all right, which is also synonymous with draconian. All right, and when you go into draconian, that goes into harsh. All right, goes here. It says, or pertaining to Draco, ancient Greek statesman. Let's get to the point. It says reference to laws, rigorous, extremely severe, or harsh. So this is what Esau is going to bring. And he had a great sword, judicial punishment. All right. And who's taking peace from the earth? Esau, Edom. Okay. They're actually bringing chaos. Okay. Because this guy here, Curtis Yarvin, wants to replace American democracy with a form of monarchy led by a CEO. Okay. And what? The cruel Lord. All right. Isaiah the 19th chapter, the 3rd verse, or the 4th verse, if I'm not mistaken. So this is what they, been theoretically speaking on, and these are the talking points. But as they're talking about these things, they're actually bringing these things to pass. So people, and this guy, well, I'm gonna play this video. And fair use. All right, fair use. Okay, let me go ahead and get it real quick. Only get my fair use. Where is it at? It's in my notes. All right. In my notepad, right? Fair use, copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright of Act 1976. All right. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, scholarship, and this is pretty much details this lesson, scholarship and research. And that's all we're doing here. All right, so fair use. Okay, because I'm gonna play this, and this guy, you're gonna pretty much see what engine he's driving in America, and you got a lot of Americans, citizens who are they're with it. They're with it. All right, they're with the dictatorship, and as you can see, really they can't get enough. So here we go.
Hi, Das. Nice to meet you. Thanks so much for doing this.
Meet the man inspiring the next generation of MAGA, Curtis Yarvin, who thinks America should no longer be a democracy. Even before Trump's re-election, he envisioned a fantasy world where Trump was president again, and with chilling accuracy described how he would take aim at public and private institutions without any interference from Congress or the courts.
Obviously, I'm not the secret mastermind of the Trump dance administration.
You're not? I thought there was a hotline.
The software engineer and blogger has been called the father of dark enlightenment political theory. That means he thinks democracy is overrated, and what the U.S. needs is a king.
Right, dark enlightenment. And that king is what? That cruel Lord. Because he is cruel, and that's what he's showing you. You got a lot of people that voted for this man, Trump, right? And they're regretting it, okay? Because all he is a puppet to bring in the elite agenda, all right? The transhumanist agenda, the technocratic agenda, all right? Where really the people that's backing him are scientists and experts, all right? And and people who are about transhumanism, all right? And that transhumanism is a doctrine of merging men or man with technology, okay? Ultimately creating man in their own image, all right? And it's opposite, all right? It's adverse to the Most High Creator Yahweh and His Son Yahweh Shai, all right? All their laws and everything that they're coming with.
A monarch, a single focus of authority is, absolutely necessary to run any integrated system efficiently. You could probably put any of the Fortune 500 CEOs in and say, okay, you're in charge of the executive branch, fix this.
See? No, those are the technocrats. So even though it may seem like this is just a talking point, this is actually taking place as we speak. You actually have the technocrats and people that he's talking about, CEOs, who are backing the president. The president is not acting on his own, all right? He is, for the interest of these special groups.
They'd probably do fine. They wouldn't be Hitler or Stalin.
And he's got some
They wouldn't be Hitler or Stalin. But what we're going to see is the result of this, which is actually in play now, is going to be worser, all right, with surveillance, and dictatorship. Well, you know what? I'll get ChatGPT to help me because I can't.
For
explain
people
it.
listening.
I think you're pretty far out in a way that is worth thinking about.
There's this guy, Curtis Yarvin, who's written about some of these things.
Years before Elon Musk and Doge, Yarvin coined the phrase RAGE, retire all government employees. Next, he sees a world where the power is not with the people.
See, and it ain't this. None of this is new. They've been planning that. Before Doge came in, he had rage, and ultimately it was to take people out of the workforce, people out of government, so they can automate government and apply the AI and how algorithms run in society. This ain't nothing new. This is nothing new.
Should there be, though, elections in your world of a sovereign CEO?
And if you can't see this coming, it's because it was never meant for you to see. And by now, and the fact that we've been prophesying about it, but there's nothing you can do about it. It's way too late. It's beyond late. All right? Because it's already in play, and the Lord is using this man. Esau is anointed. In other words, he's chosen. All right? And the scriptures say that in Ezekiel the 28th chapter. He's the anointed cherub that covereth. All right?
There needs to be a way of basically holding the sovereign CEO accountable.
But not every single person should have a vote.
I have 4 beautiful children. None of them have a vote.
Experts in democracy like Harvard professor Daniel Allen, who publicly debated Yarvin, say his ideas are dangerous.
It is not the case that autocracies over the course of history have delivered good for human beings. They have consistently violated freedom.
Not surprisingly,
And what you think they're doing now? Okay, you can say goodbye to freedoms, and again, he's influencing the next MAGA quote unquote generation. Where we know MAGA goes back to Magi, all right, which is dealing with witchcraft. Okay, so these devils are heavy into that. The left hand.
Yarvin is no stranger to controversy. He's been accused of using racist tropes and whitewashing history.
Yeah, because these are the modern day eugenicists. These are the modern day social Darwinists. All right, and they believe yes, certain races are inferior. Okay, and they want to they want to hold true to that Georgia Guidestones. They want to wipe people out, and it ain't just hypothetical, theoretical rhetoric. All right, this ain't what we're spouting. We're not spouting out hypothetical what we think these people are doing, and they are going to do it. Their actions are going to prove it. Okay. And then you're gonna be like, we should have listened, or we should have paid attention. We should have took heed. It's way too late. At this point, if you don't know what's about to happen, you are not going to be ready. If you don't know who your enemy is, you are not going to be ready.
Certain races are better at certain things than others.
Do you not necessarily believe, then, that certain races would be better at?
Yeah, the Esau, the so-called white man, is better at sabotaging, destroying, murdering, exploiting. They've always been good at that. Corruption, they've always been good at that.
Governing a country than others.
Again, governing a country is just a skill. And, it's like the British in India would basically say, oh, this race is a governing race, this race is not a governing race, based on culture, based on tradition.
Right, and we know what happened with the British in India. Right? They went crazy, okay, just like they did here, all right, in the Americas, all right?
Based
So you're
on
saying, yes,
biology,
certain races would be better at running governments than others.
would be better.
And what that is, that again, that's going back to social Darwinists.
At doing anything, but
Blatant.
those are only averages.
As for Trump, Yarvin says the administration is still not going far enough in harnessing executive power.
You laid out how you
They
thought
saying
things
he going slow. With all this that this man is doing, he's not moving fast enough.
could be done in a way that were fast, that may be a little bit dirty, and some of the things they do seem to be doing there in the White House. Are you not pleased with how they're doing it?
No, because I think that if you basically take anything complicated and you try to do 10% of it, you're not going to 5% or maybe 1%, you're probably not going to result in anything good.
Instead, Yarvin is looking to younger generations.
I think most of my influence on
Let's see, he ain't working fast enough. And that you can tell Edomite is written all over him, because when you're not moving fast enough for Esau, you can tell he gets pissed off. All right, and this is where they're gonna generate crises at. All right, now I could finish this. I might as well.
Sort of the Trump administration is less through the leadership and more through like kids in the administration who read my kind of stuff, because my audience is very young. And
Are you in touch with staffers at the White House on a regular basis?
I don't really know what a regular basis is, but
Are
you
you
know,
emailing on the phone
are there people in the administration who are on signal groups with me? Yes, there are. I'm just out there in the marketplace of ideas, you know, and I think the marketplace of ideas has definitely expanded in the last 10 years.
All right, so let's move on. Okay. Let's see if I can kind of keep this under 30 minutes, but let's go.
Turn the U.S. into a tech monarchy, and J.D. Vance. This guy wants to turn the U.S. into a tech monarchy, and J.D. Vance has praised his ideas.
If Americans want to change their government, they're going to have to get over the dictatorphobia.
His name is Curtis Yarvin, and he's a software engineer and blogger who argues American democracy is so broken.
Right, so he says America has to get over the dictator phobia. All right, dictator phobia. Okay, so they're pushing for a dictatorship, which is what? That's what they call globalization. It's just another word for globalizing, because everybody is going to be unilateral or universal. All right, uni meaning one. Okay.
Broken, it needs to be replaced with monarchy styled after a Silicon Valley tech startup. J.D. Vance has talked about Yarvin and his ideas multiple times, suggesting his theories have shaped his thinking. In his book, Patchwork, A Political System for the 21st Century, Yarvin wrote, "As the crappy governments we inherited from history are smashed, they should be replaced by a global spiderweb of tens, even hundreds of thousands of sovereign, independent mini-countries, each governed by its own joint stock corporation without regard to the residents' opinions." He also believes these corporate countries should have a surveillance system that might as well be out of a dystopian sci-fi.
Right, and that's where you get Palantir. They're already doing it.
Guys even proposed converting non-productive people into biodiesel. He later...
Right. So society deems not fit, unfit. He wants to recycle your ass and turn you into biodiesel. Okay? And he's saying it was just a joke. You think Esau joking? Nah.
He said it was a joke and that he'd find a more humane alternative to genocide, like imprisoning them in virtual realities.
Right, imprisoning them in virtual realities. All right, so now you should see why they're putting so much money into ICE and militarizing the police. Okay, because that is the new America. The America you knew ain't America no more. It ain't America.
But Yarvin sees Trump as a way to get closer to the monarchy he envisions. He told Politico that the Trump admin challenging Congress's constitutionally granted power to control funding is the first step. That's because he feels that Congress, the branch with hundreds of representatives, has too much power that should...
Right, they want to eliminate the human aspect, all right, of running society. All right, they want to run society using AI, and this is their God. Okay. And the scriptures talk about he had power to give life unto the image of the beast. All right. That the image of the beast should both speak. Here we go. And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast. All right. Which is society's norms, is standard. Okay. Because we know America's just Rome all again. All right. That the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. When you go into this word killed, it means to be cut off in any way. All right, because if you speak against the establishment, and I got to put this out there, when you speak against the establishment.
Strong's G 615, apartino.
They're going to cut you off or kill in any way, whatever, to destroy or allow to perish. So that's why they got they're digitizing everything and they're taking over the technology, and they're essentially merging everything together. Okay, you heard about them making people verify themselves with Google search now. Verify yourself if you go on YouTube. You got to have an ID. Everybody at some point is going to have a digital ID where they're going to be able to trace and track whatever you're doing. Okay, search history, all of that stuff. Things you like, things you dislike, comments you make online, and they're going to penalize you for it. Okay, all of that's coming, and it's all set up, right? And we know the trick. We know, all right? But the whole time you're supposed to be preparing yourself for this, all right? 2 Ezra 16:40. Whole time you're supposed to be preparing yourself, all right? Oh, my people, hear my word, make you ready to thy battle. What battle? The battle is right in front of you, all right? It says, and in those evils be even as pilgrims upon earth. Why do we have to be as pilgrims? Okay? Why do we have to be as pilgrims? To avoid being caught up in this system. The Lord is charging us to come out of this world. And you know what Jeremiah 51:6 goes into that. Deliver thy soul. All right? As you got to put off this world, okay, and you got to be apart from it. And that's the stuff we always talk about. All right? So the battle is what? Let's see here. Check this out. Explain how a global technocratic dictatorship looks like. All right, a global. I'm not gonna read it all. A global. You type it into ChatGPT, and you'll get the gist of all the breakdown. So, like it says, a global technocratic dictatorship would be a system where a single world government is run not by kings, presidents, or parliaments, but by experts, scientists, engineers, economists, and technocrats, and where ordinary people have little to no say. That's what that dude Yarvin was talking about. Eliminating people from voting, eliminating people from having an opinion. All right, and how they are governed instead of democracy, because the elite believe everybody is stupid, which everybody is stupid. Okay, if you don't have the laws, understanding of the Lord's law, all right, if you don't respect that law, then you are stupid. You're in the congregation of the dead, all right, spiritually dead from the neck up. It says rule would be based on technical expertise, all right, and centralized control. This is what Esau's pushing for, all right, and a lot of jakes ain't ready. A lot of Israelites, they're focused on other things rather than seeing how the enemy is moving. But we saw in Maccabees what Judas Maccabees, what he prayed for and what he understood, that his enemies were coming after them to destroy them. And we got to understand the same thing. All right, centralized global authority. Okay, one centralized governing body would claim authority over all nations. Okay. National governments might still exist, but they function as administrative branches rather than sovereign powers. Policies would be uniform worldwide, and that's what's coming. Laws, taxes, even cultural norms could be standardized. All right. Ruled by experts, total surveillance, technology, AI, biometric satellites, social credit systems would monitor populations continuously. Right, so you ain't gonna have no type of freedom, right? And you're gonna have to get wearables, wearable technology, implantable technology, all of these things that's gonna control you, okay? Because this is a whole system of control. That's what this is. This is what we're headed into. Every financial transaction, communication, and movement could be tracked. Digital currencies, and they're gonna phase out the dollar. We've been telling you that. Privacy would be nearly non-existent, right? Framed as necessary for safety and efficiency. And this is what they put. This is the talking point. Safety. So they're gonna take, and they've been saying, I've been hearing this for years, that they're gonna bring in totalitarianism, all right, and they're gonna do it under the guise of bringing you safety and making things more safe. All right, that's what this is all going to always be about. Oh, we're trying to make the kids safe. All right, whole time they're kidnapping kids and they got sex trafficking rings and they're trafficking kids. And we're talking about people that's in government, people that's in high authority. All right, you just had a liaison of Benjamin, not you. All right, he just got sent back to the state of It's Real, okay, and they're harboring a pedophile, man. All right, that those are your leaders, okay. So it says digital control of resources. Physical cash might be replaced by a global digital currency controlled by a central authority. All right. Access to money, food, travel, and services, all right, could be restricted instantly if someone disobeys, you see, and that's the social credit system. That's what that's all about. Look it up. All right. Look all of these things up. If you haven't, please become hip. All right. So you can avoid the chip. All right. And regulations of thought and behavior. Regulation of thought and behavior. So you're not going to have a free will, free speech. All of that's going to be taken away. All right. Media, education, and social platforms would push a uniform worldview. So a uniform meaning a one form of a worldview. All right. So you can only speak one way. Okay. And if you speak outside of the establishment and what's being established in law, which they already showing you, Trump is going after people and saying that he's going to deny aid to those who are anti-Sim. All right, who speak against the so-called Jews, all right, and who don't support the state of It's Real, okay? It says dissent could be labeled as misinformation, anti-science, and anti-progress, all right? And what do you think we're labeled as, all right? Because we're not rooting for this society, okay? It says conformity would be framed as rational and for the common good, okay? So imagine that. It's going to be just like, it's going to be like a dystopian movie, okay? Transhumanism and biopolitics, human enhancement, genetic modification, cybernetic implants, AI integration. This is what's all bottled up. And, you know, we just touched on this guy wanting to bring a dictatorship. It just shows you the direction and the mindset of what's already at play, all right? It's already in play, all right? All we're waiting on is another crisis, which is going to kind of draw us closer and closer into them expanding their control and consolidating their control. All right. So, and it's important to watch these things. Okay. Why? Because it can hit close to home. When it hits close to home, you know what to do. You know to avoid these, these militarized, this medical truck, and they got military behind them. You know to avoid all of that, okay? Because that's the time we're coming into. All right, you'll know with the knowledge and wisdom and stability of thy times, right? You'll know to avoid, and you'll know how to take care of yourself. All right, because they're talking about all across the board giving the shots to the young, and kids ain't gonna be able to go to school unless they take the you know what, right? This is Isaiah 33:6, and you got to become your own doctor in this time. You got to be your own physician. We are physicians, being that we have this word, because they're not looking to help. They're looking to destroy, and that's for certain. It says, and wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times and strength of salvation. The fear of the Lord, Yahweh, is his treasure. So I should say Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. Okay? So our fear is going to be our treasure. Us trusting in the Lord, us reverencing the Lord, the name of the Lord in those times, all right? That's going to be our treasure. And wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of our times. All right? We're going to be able to be stable. Let's look into that word stability. All right. And I kind of lied. I said I was going to try to be under 30 minutes. It's just, it's the spirit. It says, I'm a one now. All right. Which really is faith, right? So it says here, it says faithfulness, truth, faithfully, office, faithful, faith, stability, steady. All right. Firmness, fidelity, steadfastness, steadiness. All right. And it really is dealing with your sanity. Okay. Because the scriptures say the world is going to be complex. They ain't going to know what to do. It's going to be great perplexity among these people, because they're not looking for the signs. They're not looking towards their enemy and seeing what they're on. They're not being circumspect. So what? That anything that this devil comes, the scriptures say the scriptures talk about the wiles of the devil, the trickery of the devil. All right. When he's pulling, the wool over your eyes, and when he's pulling his little magic trick, so to speak, right? We're gonna know that that is that's the snare, that's the trap, or the jinn. Okay. All right. So what? We're gonna have to this knowledge and understanding that we have. This is key right now, and that's why it's so important to get it now before they cut communication. And they will cut it. All right. And then you're going to have to, when they cut the power grid, you're going to have to know how to survive. All right. And it's only going to be by way of the Spirit. Okay. Guiding you and leading you and telling and keeping your faith and firmness and belief that the Lord is going to accomplish what he said he was going to accomplish. Okay. Not giving up at the sight of trouble. At the sight of, don't have anything to eat. All right, you got plenty to eat. You got canned goods. You got more. You really got more than enough now. But imagine at the times where we don't have, you have barely enough, right? You're gonna be thankful that you have a can of peas or whatever the case may be. All right, but you're gonna stay faithful in those times, and you're not gonna bug out. All right. And run to these people for help because they're not looking to help. Scriptures say those that consent unto them shall be had in derision and trodden underfoot. That they know it's a trap. They're setting the trap. Jeremiah 30:7, alas, for that day is great, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble. But he shall be saved out of it. Who? The elect. For it shall come to pass in that day, said the Lord of hosts, Yahweh of armies, that I will break his yoke from off thy neck. So we're going to be loosed from this devil. Okay. The Lord is going to make it so he doesn't have control over us. He will have control over many because through that RFID, the micro C-hip. All right. The mark of, the beast. Okay. And will burst thy bonds, and strangers shall no more serve themselves of him. All right. But they shall serve the Lord Yahweh their power, and David their king, whom I will raise up unto them. And guess what? He is going to raise up David. Okay. You thought the Lord was a liar? No. All right. Yea, let the Lord be true, and yet every man a liar. Okay. We believe what the Lord said. All right. And then, Isaiah 10:20 said that we're going to lean upon him and not upon our oppressors. That's the prophecy. Okay. And so the more we get this understanding, the more we stay firm, and the more we do what we're told through the Spirit, all right, the Lord is going to look out. Okay. He's going to look out. All right. But they shall serve the Lord their God, and David their king, whom I will raise up unto them. Therefore fear thou not, O my servant Jacob, said the Lord Yahweh, Bahasham Yahushai, not to be dismayed. Okay. So don't be afraid, O Israel, for lo, I will save thee from afar. That's what your mind has to be on. And thy seed from the land of their captivity, and Jacob shall return and shall be in rest and be quiet, and none shall make him afraid. So, Lord willing, this was edifying. All right. Stay tuned. All right. Until next time, I say shalom.